for week number 3 with Changing the Game Academy with Dr. Sadell.
Yes.
And praise the Lord, she's back. She's on the move. She's a mover and a shaker. And we just want to give her an opportunity to give us an update on what she's accomplished in this past week. So I'll just turn it over to you, Dr. Sadell. Go ahead.
Okay. Sounds good. Hey, everybody. Those of you who tune in now or later, I'm so happy that you've chosen to do that. We are excited about what God is doing. I'm excited about what is about to happen here in South St. Pete. Since I last spoke with you, I have had an opportunity to have a conversation with a representative from Mount Zion. And that is a wonderful church with wonderful history. I know, Ms. Denise, you know all about it. And I'm learning more and more about Mount Zion. I recognize that it is a church in the heart of the community we want to serve. It's a church with a heart for the community and already has an existing school, has a preschool, has everything that we need to be able to do these stay safe classrooms. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, my name is Dr. Sadell LeGrand. I'm a family practice physician, just moved here to St. Pete. I'm very excited about opening a practice on 34th Street South. I will be opening probably in another couple of weeks. I do primary care. I do pain management. I take care of you've been in an auto accident as well. So I do physical therapy and all that in the office. I'm excited about opening this office for a lot of reasons. Number one, I love to do medicine. I love taking care of people, but it also gives me an in into the community that I want to serve. So even without exactly knowing where I was going, I chose that office because I like the office, but I did not know that it was in the heart of where I needed to be and where God really has assigned me, which is South St. Petersburg. So what I want to do as a physician, of course, is I always say I care about the ills of my patients and I want to see them get better. I want to see healing happen. And I know that that has to happen from the inside out. It has to happen from the very root of the cause of the problem. You know, cancer can't be healed just by putting a Band-Aid on it. It has to be dug out. It has to be rooted out. It has to be removed. And so the ills of the community that I serve also, I want to see healing. And just like that cancer, it has to be rooted out. The very root of it has to be dealt with. And we're dealing with some serious stuff here. We're talking about systemic racism. We're talking about all kinds of generational issues that has been going on in our community literally for generations. And it can stop if just like it started. So we need to be aware of some of what those things are. And I believe that what has happened here with coronavirus is only, and then what happened with George Floyd and many of the others who have lost their lives, is only unmasked a very serious problem that we have in our community. It has unmasked what has been sort of covertly there all along, just sort of hiding right under the surface. But now we can see in plain sight what the problems are. So with coronavirus, things have gotten even worse because once again, as a people, we are disproportionately affected by this virus. It has a lot to do with our immune system, of course, and stress decreases your ability to fight off infection. And as a people, stress is a fact of life. Pretty much is just a part of our daily lives. And so our immune systems, oftentimes, and not always, but oftentimes, are not as up to par as they should be. In addition to that, of course, there's so many other factors as far as access to health care and some of the other things that prevent us as a people from really living healthy lives. So coronavirus has only complicated this situation. And those of you who are watching or will watch, I'm sure have heard of this beautiful 9-year-old little girl who have died this week from coronavirus, and she did not have any underlying health problems that was known. She simply got a high fever, and the next day she pretty much was dead. Well, that should have put off an alarm to this community. It should have set off some alarms to those who are planning for our children to go back to school. Instead, I see our governor have this wonderful session on television with these hand-picked people who are all for going back into the classroom. and how developmentally challenged people who children who need to be back in the classroom, and teachers talking about how they need to have these face-to-face encounters for their children. But all of what they were saying, I'm sure, was true, but not in the middle of a pandemic. It's just not the case, because the children who are going to suffer are those children with those immune systems that are deficient that they had on TV today on Bay News 9. They're going to suffer. You know, our children are going to suffer. So whether you look at it as, you know, there's going to be pros and cons to everything, but in this particular situation, it is my opinion that children going back into a regular classroom is not a smart idea. If they had small classrooms that they could guarantee, where kids were only, you know, 8 or 10, 12 kids at the most, then I'd say, okay, but that is not what they're doing. You know, that is not what they're doing. They don't have enough teachers to do that. They don't have the space. They're not going to spend the money. So what do? Our choice is what? To send our children and just at the mercy of whatever it is Pinellas County School decides to do, or any other school system in our state, they just decide to do. Our options as parents here was to send them back to brick and mortar, to have an e-learning program at home with the option of perhaps going back next semester for face-to-face, sort of a hybrid. And then, of course, just straight e-learning with not going into the classroom. Well, e-learning is wonderful for people who can stay at home. But if you have an elementary school child and you work, or at least want to work and try to work, you can't very well stay at home and watch your child and be there with that child while they're getting taught by a teacher online. So that's not realistic for many of our families. Not to mention, I remember the end of last school year, because I've been doing telemedicine since March. So I watched my patients struggling, trying to take care of their own lives and issues of life. And then they have 3 kids at home, trying to help them with their schoolwork and trying to help them navigate their educational digital platforms. That was not easy. It was difficult for these families. And so now the option is to go back to that, which they just came out of, which was almost impossible, or send them back to school. So sending them back to school is the only option until now, because we do want to present another option. We have at least 50 slots for children who are in elementary, 1st grade through 5th grade, who as a parent, you don't want to send your child back to a brick and mortar school. As a parent, you may not be able to stay at home, or just really don't want to do that. Don't want to have your 4 children at home sitting at the kitchen table trying to do. Come on, I mean, don't feel bad about that. Don't feel guilty about that. You know, that's hard for anybody, much less if you're dealing with all of other life's issues. So going back to school for that family perhaps is the only option, but it isn't now. So prayerfully, let me just tell you what has happened this week, so we're up to speed. Last week, I was looking for a location. We needed to find a place that could house at least 50 children, where each classroom had 10 children. So we'd have 5 classrooms with 10 children. We'd have a learning coach and a volunteer in that classroom. We'll have 2 wraparound programs, which will be a part of the overall experience for the child in that class. Regardless of the age, long as between 1st grade and 5th grade, we'll divide them up. We'll put them in groups with similar age groups, but it wouldn't necessarily be a whole classroom just 1st graders, a whole classroom just of 2nd graders. It might be 1st and 2nd grade. It may be 2nd and 3rd grade. It may be 4th and 5th grade. It may be 1st and 3rd grade. It may be that it'll be a mixture of people, because children learn from each other anyway. So I wouldn't have a 1st grader with a 5th grader, but I would have a 1st grader with a 2nd grader, or even a 3rd grader. So those are the kinds of things. We'll have 10 in a classroom, 2 adults in each room with those children. And so K-12, we're still in negotiations, and it's not a complete done deal yet, but we're believing God that it will be done. And the person that is really championing this concept to K-12 is 100% behind it. They set aside $10 million out of their billion-something dollar budget to be able to provide the kind of services that we're doing within our urban communities. Really working with Black children and children who live in the Black experience in our inner city areas. So they say they want to make a difference. And so this particular person that is over strategic partnerships, his name is Adam Ewing. He has really pushed this thing as far as he can. I gave them a proposal. He thought it was wonderful. I'm believing God, and I need you guys who out there who know how to pray. I need you to pray for this to come about. So we need a complete yes from them. If we always have a plan B, you always know we got a plan B, but this is the best. This is the best option. And with this option, it wouldn't cost a dime for our children and our families to come, because they're going to cover the cost of the teacher. They're going to cover the cost of the computer. And that's one of the biggest expenses. We'll handle the rest. But if they do that, that'll give us a big push to make this happen the way we want it to happen. So pray for that, for K-12 to say yes to the, we're actually asking for 100 scholarships, but I'll be okay with 50. Yeah, I'll be okay with 50. So since I talked to you last week, we have a location that I'm going to go look at this coming Friday. Mount Zion, as I started this broadcast, started telling you about it. I will be meeting the person that's over health and human services or human services at Mount Zion on this Friday at 2:00. I will have an opportunity to see the facility, which I've already seen. My son actually went there, who's now 32 years old, when he was a little boy. So I remember the facility from that long ago, but it's been a long time, so I'll get a chance to see the inside and see how this will fit. So I'm so grateful to Mount Zion. I'm so grateful to those who on the board there who said yes. I'm so thankful. Haven't met any of them yet, but when people are committed to doing what's right, you don't have to have a face-to-face. You just know that it's the right thing, and you feel it in your heart and make it happen. And that's what has happened here. I have not met one single person in person, but they said yes. So thank God for Mount Zion. Amen. So that'll be our first step, to be able to work with whatever it is space they have available for us to transfer and translate their classrooms into Stay Safe classrooms, and to make it available for those who want to sign up. You can go to our website, ctgfornewgeneration.com, and submit your interest, your desire to be a part of our first class. If your child is first grade through fifth grade, you're welcome to sign them up. And next year, we'll actually include pre-K, kindergarten, VPK, and also we're going to add sixth grade. That's the plan. But for right now, and every year we'll add a grade, but as for right now, first grade through fifth grade. Now, I was asked earlier today, why not kindergarten and VPK? The same reason I'm not doing middle and high school. Both middle and high school is a whole nother dynamic. Okay, you got to have a different kind of teacher. You got to do things differently. You have to engage students on a different level when they're middle and high school. Same thing with kindergarten and pre-K. It's a whole nother world. It's what I do for first grade through fifth grade. I won't necessarily be able to do with a kindergarten. I got to get down and floor with the kindergarten. I got to do things with the kindergarten that the first grader may have a little hard time doing at first, but by the time Christmas comes, they'll be on it. So it's just certain things that just takes, and with what I have to work with right now and the infrastructure that I have right now, this is the smarter thing to do, is to work with what I got in my hands and not try to do something that's beyond my abilities. Now, if any of y'all out there, early childhood educators who know, in a retired elementary school, kindergarten teachers that feel like you can make this happen, I'm with you. We can do it. You just got to run that part of it. So I'm open. I just need the help to do it. I'm just working with what I have. But if anybody out there has something willing to put their heart into it and their mind into it and their soul into it to make it happen for our babies, listen, I'll give you all the support I can. We'll be a part of that. but I would need you to handle it. Okay, so if you're out there, let's talk. I'm sorry, Miss Denise. I always take over, don't I?
You're absolutely fine. You're doing great. Um, I'm I'm impressed. I would like to know the more details because you didn't tell us about like the square footage that you're needing
Okay.
for the ratio nine to 10 students, and then I know that there are families because as a private tutor, I'm on a online platform, and families are actually forming, I guess, what they call pods, and it's like 5 children, and they're hiring a teacher from Wyoming to teach their kids. And,
yes.
And so we have to be very creative. And I remember last week you said I am one solution, but it's wonderful if K-12 has $10 million. It's something that I see you piloting your program as a pilot at Mount Zion, and then asking our other churches if they would also be interested in providing that support, because we have there's 100,000 children in the Pinellas County School District, and I don't know how many African American children live in South St. Pete or just in the district period that would appreciate and love that type of support.
Absolutely.
During the season. And when you talk about, another question was when you talk about the wraparound services, can you be specific? Because we hear that term a lot, but unless you're in the industry, that's
a word.
Let's explain it.
Yeah. Well, and what it means as far as we're concerned is that in addition to the traditional academic curriculum that you'll get through K-12, where there's a teacher there teaching ABCs and 1, 2, 3, and all the things that's needed for an academic education with the assignments and the homework and all the stuff that's being done digitally. That would take a large part of the day, but it doesn't have to take the whole day. And part of the day will be spent teaching some other things that we will teach right there in the classroom. And once a week or twice a week, for us, it'll be twice a week for 1 hour, we'll have a program called Project I Am, which is Inspiring Amazing Minds. And this is where kids will be able to get up and express themselves. They'll be writing their own poetry and spoken word. They'll be writing their own music. They'll be dancing. We'll be having all kinds of fun activities that gets them moving, gets them talking, get them expressing, get them drawing and painting, get them doing things that allows them to, and we ask real specific questions like, what makes you happy? Draw what makes you happy. Draw what makes you sad. Write a song about it, so you get the academics in, but at the same time, their creativity, and they get to open up and say things that they ordinarily wouldn't say. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the main programs that I think is so important for our children, to be able to have a break from the basic academics and be able to do something creative and be able to open up and talk and say how they feel without anyone jumping down their throat about it. And that's what Project I Am allows. And it can be done in a very safe environment because, when you operate in a cocoon, which is what we're creating, everybody in that cocoon, we know everybody's status, we know what's going on with each child. So we're monitoring COVID, we're monitoring other illnesses too. People think COVID is the only thing that's threatening. It's turning into flu season. H1N1 kills people. H1N1 is a flu that kills people. And so it's very dangerous. And so we don't want our children to be sick with anything. So all of the things that we're teaching them about, which comes to the second program that we could call a wraparound program, which is personal protection education. So with that, what we're doing is teaching children the difference between a virus and a bacteria. I mean, most adults don't know that, but we'll teach them. Antibiotics don't touch a virus. That's why you can't take an antibiotic when you have a cold. If you have a cold with pharyngitis, which is a throat infection, or otitis media, which is an ear infection, then that's because the bacteria has infected those areas. And so you get amoxicillin, penicillin, erythromycin, some of the other, broad spectrum antibiotics. But if you have rhinovirus, which is just a regular cold virus, it makes your stuffy nose, sore throat, cough, antibiotics isn't going to touch that. It won't. So you just treat the symptoms. Well, the coronavirus, they call it novel because it's new, so to speak, is a very strange virus, but it is a virus, and it acts sort of like a virus. And one of the things viruses do, as well as, bacteria, but it's definitely viruses, is that they mutate, they change. So when you get a flu shot, for instance, you get certain strains of certain strains that they give you the vaccine for, but then there are other strains that you may catch that you didn't get vaccinated for because of that mutation. So it sounds like it's complicated, but it can be broken down to where children get it. Why is it important to wash your hands? We'll make a rap with washing the hands, and we'll have it, a beat and music with a song about washing the hands that everybody will sing when they're washing their hands. But then they'll also understand why that's important. Why is it not okay to just rinse your hands off and wipe it on your clothes like what we generally do? Why is it necessary to use certain types of soap to wash your hands for 30 seconds, rinse them well, and then dry it off with a clean towel? Those are the kinds of things. How are infections transferred? So we're teaching our children as we go because our world has changed. COVID has changed, and the whole understanding of COVID. And for every human being in this country to have to wear a mask, to do the things that we're told to do, including children, adults don't even understand. So at least our children need to, so they can start teaching the adults as to why these things are necessary. And some things we're doing aren't necessary, but it's still something that we have to do because we're basically told to do. So I'm not here to say you shouldn't wear a mask. I definitely would not say that, because that the law is to wear a mask. So wear a mask. What good is wearing a mask? We'll explain that. What it could do, what it's not going to do. So those are the wraparound kinds of programs, or that we'll discuss and talk. It'll be a part of their regular day. Their academics, and then you'll have the personal protection education, and you'll have Project I Am. And all of that will be all wrapped around the academic component of what we know school to be.
Mm-hmm. Enrichment. You have enrichment.
I like that. That's a better word.
Enrichment activities, as well as just help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Help, and they'll know the reason why they do what they do. I was thinking that sometimes when we talk about barriers, and it might be premature because you're securing the building, the location right now. But what about, do you have a date in mind, a tentative date? Do you have the time of when your school's going to start? 9 a.m. to 3 or whatever, and then do you have? Parents will ask, like, transportation. Will I have to provide my own transportation, or will the school provide it? And then also lunch, like breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
How are you planning to address those needs in our community?
Those are very, very good questions. I want to start with the last one because that's the hardest one. It's very difficult to say that, first of all, children who are on free lunch, it takes a lot to be able to get free lunch. And I don't know what the avenues are right now, and I have to learn that.
Okay.
I don't know what those are, but I know it's available. I just don't know how to be a person who can get that.
Okay, so pause right there. If you guys know and have information on how to become an organization or a vendor to participate in the free and reduced lunch program out of PA. If you know the process, could you, text, email Dr. Siddell and say, I want to help you with that component of your school to be eligible to participate in the free and reduced lunch program? I would really, that's my email address. I would really appreciate any help with that, because with COVID,
it's difficult to bring food in from outside. So the only for other children to eat, the only way we can do this because of COVID is children have to bring their own lunch in a disposable bag. So no lunch boxes. See, nothing coming from home, because the whole part of the Stay Safe classroom is that you don't have backpacks coming in and out. You don't have books coming in and out. You don't have lunch boxes coming in and out. That's how we stay safe.
Okay.
So the only way we can do lunch or breakfast is to have it, have the child bring their own bagged lunch. Now, sometimes I think we might be able to do, I can have like little prepackaged things brought in, this individual boxes for the individual kids. I can do that like for breakfast. I can have a little like fruit and drink or something like that. Some small snack that has to be pre-boxed. You can't have like a cafeteria style situation. You can't have any back and forth of food.
Can it be prepackaged or catered? Can you have food catered like from
as long as it's individual packaged. It can be catered, but it has to be like a box lunch, a box breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah, which is expensive.
Sponsor money. We look for money, information, advice, or introductions.
Amen.
That's
we would need that sponsored for sure. For sure.
Whatever. So we're putting the needs out, setting it in the atmosphere.
Yes.
Make it doable. Dr. Siddell is not called to do it all, but she's called to execute it and put it together. And she can't do it alone. So So we're here.
Definitely. Which is why we're here, is to get it out there for those who would be interested in being a part of this in any way. That's one of our needs is food for the children. But it has to be an individual boxed lunches that's thrown away at the end. They can't be taken anywhere. They can't be shared,
Oh, yeah. Okay. So even if people can cater, like maybe you have someone cater for Monday, someone cater for Tuesday, someone cater for sponsor a day of the week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But whatever, like I said, whatever they bring, has to be in individual bags. In other words, they can't bring a tray full of stuff.
Right. Like when you go to a restaurant, it's already in that styrofoam.
It has to be prepackaged.
Okay.
Where each individual child has their own.
Gotcha.
Okay. So in the old world, somebody can bring a whole, tray full of chicken nuggets, and we'll just divide them up. No, we're not in that world right now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I just want to put it out. I wanted to put it out there. So
yes, that's a very, very good question, and it is a major concern. That's been on my mind as to how the only thing I know to do is the moms have to pack a lunch for their children, whatever it is they want to give them, what they can give them.
A brown bag lunch. Okay.
Brown bag lunch.
A brown bag lunch. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever color bag it wants to be. But it has to be. They have to provide the lunch.
Dollar Tree, yeah. 50 bags.
Yeah. And then as far as transportation for this year, they will have to come to the site. We're working on transportation, but I have a feeling it'll be for next school year. Yeah, it is in my budget to. That's another on my wish list of having a school van.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then in regards to the time, right now we're looking at that, like an 8 to 3 kind of thing. But I am looking into a couple of hours for after school because I know a lot of the parents will be working, but it will be at a very low rate because I've got to pay somebody to be there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then what else did you say? Transportation time. Oh, when we're going to get started? Well, I want to get that yes from K-12. Then I can actually pinpoint a date.
Okay.
My plan is to start when school starts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
The first day of school, we wanted to be our first day of school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the tentative date, it went from August 12th and then it got moved to August 24th.
Right.
And then and I think it's still not quite etched in stone.
I know.
Yet. So I'm just telling parents, go ahead and get started, even with a book. Just start.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I'm just, glad that we're at this point. I thank you for asking those questions. It's important. I look forward to anybody who will watch this in the future to email me at that email address and let me know that you're interested in doing whatever it is you can do. And like I always say, we all have a piece of the puzzle. We just need to know that we do have a piece of the puzzle. And we're just asking you to bring it to the table, because that way we'll know where your piece fits. And that's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to use what's in our hands to make our community safer and better, and then see the transformation to occur as our children transform. Our communities will as well.
We're grooming leaders.
Exactly. Yeah. So in addition, before I leave, I'd like for those of you who will tune in, if you have a school already, if you have a church school that's been closed and you guys really want to open it and just want to do it safer, I am available to help in the best way I can. I'm not charging anybody. I don't have any consultation fees. I'm not asking you for money. I will give you what I've already put together. I'll give it to you to do the same thing. And that way, we can only do 50 people, 50 children. Right. We need other people to do the same thing. We need stay safe classrooms all over our communities. So I want you to do it. If you have a school, let's make it happen. Get our kids, and then let us come in and do Project I Am at no charge to you. So let that happen. Those are the kind of things we want to see. Okay. So God bless you guys. I love you. I love you, Miss Denise. You're the best.
Dr. Sadell.
You are the best.
We thank you. We thank God for you. And I love our community. We love our community. We love our children. I definitely love our children.
Yes.
And the family that they represent. So we're just trying to find how to help, how to serve you.
Right. Well, I sure appreciate it. And I'm gonna end this broadcast, but I want you all to who will listen to know that next week this time we'll give you an update as to what happened this coming week, because we're expecting good things to happen every week.
Right, exactly. So we put the goals out there, the next steps, right?
Exactly. So if you are a early childhood educator, kindergarten extraordinaire teacher, and want to get it going, want us to add kindergarten to this program, please do. Let me know. Email me and let me know. Also, if you have a way to tell us how to be a part of the free lunch program, I know it exists. I know there's a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork usually that goes along with getting that, being a vendor for that. So let me know how to do that as well. So thank you guys so much. God bless you, Ms. Denise, and we will talk again soon.
God bless you too, Dr. Sadell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.